can't stand quitters. So if you're the kind of person who's going to quit because it's hard, I don't even want your energy around me, because quitters are the worst people on the planet. You can give a quitter absolutely everything and they will still fail. Quitters can have every single advantage. Quitters can have all the information. Quitters can have all the tutelage. Quitters can have a mentorship. Quitters can have someone who messages them every morning, hey bro, let's get it. And guess what they're going to do at the end? Quit. They ain't never going to have shit, right? You need the people who don't quit. I don't quit.
You can feel depressed, but you feel depressed, and that is a natural biological evolutionary trigger for you to change something in your life. That's your own mind telling you you're unhappy about X. If I went to jail today, I'd be depressed because I'm in jail. Right. I haven't caught depression. I don't have a disease. I'm just upset with my situation. Yep. I have people message me all the time. I'm fat and I can't get a girlfriend because I'm depressed. I'm like, no, pancake lover. You're depressed because you're fat and you can't get a girlfriend. Do you understand? This is the point, right? So for a lot of people, your life is depressing. A lot of you out there, if you're sitting there and you say you suffer from depression, you probably live a depressing life. You probably live a depressing life. So if I was you, I'd be depressed. But if you were me, you'd be happy. Do you know what could solve depression for most poor people? $1 million in the bank. Yep. Boom. So how is it a disease? This absolute acceptance of depression and acceptance of weakness. When you accept anything, to a degree, you're promoting it. Weakness is promoted now in men, right? Yeah. So let's take Robin Williams as an example. Robin Williams killed himself.
I was just going to say him.
Yeah. Robin Williams, right? Famous. He could be banging 19-year-olds for the rest of his life. Multi-millionaire. Everyone loves him. How could he possibly kill himself? I'll tell you why. Because when he walked into the therapist's office and said, I feel depressed, the therapist said, okay, here's some mind-altering drugs. Start taking these for the next 10 years. He was in therapy for 10 years. Oh, yeah. If I had to take mind-altering drugs and talk about sad shit for 6 hours a day for 10 years, I'd kill myself. But if he would have walked into the therapist's office and the therapist said to him, you're Robin Williams. There are people in the world with no food. Yeah. There are families in Syria.
I say this
there
every
are
time.
School buses being bombed in Yemen. There are people who lost their entire family in a car crash today. You're Robin Williams and everyone you love is in perfect health. You're a selfish idiot. Get out of my office. Get some balls. He'd still be alive today. The cure made it worse. And this whole society of accepting depression, as soon as someone's depressed, instantly go to them, oh, poor you. It's okay. We know you can't help it. You can't help it. Why are you telling people they can't help it? Why are you reinforcing that mindset in people? If you come to me and say you're depressed, I say, I will fix you. And you know what's crazy? When I said this depression thing wasn't real, do you know how many people stuck up for depression? You don't understand. I'm depressed. Depression's real. I was like, if it's so horrible, why are you defending it? You sound like it's a PR team. Why? I thought it was ruining your life, but you are desperate for me to believe in it. You want me to believe in it. You're sticking up for it. You're defending depression. Trying to convince me it's real because it's your cure-all excuse for failure. When you're depressed, you can fail in every human metric. I fail at everything, but I'm depressed. It's not my fault. No, you're a failure. That's all you are, because you're not trying very hard. If you live in a house, I say this all the time. This is the reason I don't believe in depression. Because I don't believe in depression, I cannot become depressed. No matter what the worst thing that could possibly happen to me on earth, I will feel sad, but I will recover and I will not become depressed because I don't believe in depression. If you're in an old haunted house, right? You have two people in two haunted houses. One believes in ghosts and one doesn't. You hear some noise in the night. The wind blows, right? The man who believes in ghosts is like, oh no, a ghost. Now he's scared, right? He wants an exorcist. He can't sleep. He's scared about ghosts. He's paranoid. The guy who doesn't believe in ghosts goes, wind, whatever, and goes back to sleep. Do you understand that it's the belief that gives it power? Right. If you don't believe in ghosts, the ghost can't hurt you. If you don't believe in depression, you can't become depressed. And I refuse to believe in something that's going to weaken me. Why would I believe in something that's going to weaken my ability to deal with problems in life? Why would I do that? I'm temporarily immortal. Do you understand? Do you understand? I'm temporarily immortal, and I'm not going to waste my living years believing in things which take power from me, because I'm not an idiot. So if you're going to sit there and go, depression is real, actually, you don't understand the problems I'm going through, you're a moron. You are a moron. And the great thing about morons is, as you lose, there's no light without dark, right? There's no joy without pain. Of course. For me to be a winner, there needs to be losers. If you want to be depressed and sit around broke while I'm flexing in the Lambo, then do it. Go do it. But you're not going to convince me to join your way of thinking. The last thing, anyone who's watching this, I want you to understand, the last thing you should ever do is adopt the thinking of someone who is sad. Bam. Why would you want to think like the sad person? I'm sad and I'm semi-suicidal. You should have the same views and beliefs as me. What the fuck out of here? No, depression. It ain't real. There, I'm is floating out of the water. It's not real. You can come at me and say whatever you want. It's not real.
I think that a lot of people don't understand that it's all of the challenges and struggles that's going to make them, it's either going to make or break them. I don't read studies very often, but I was sent a study about stress from somebody. It's probably the best study I ever read, and it's talked about the placebo effect of stress. And it said that they took some of the most stressed people in the world, CEOs, etc., and the ones who believed that stress was really bad for them were dying earlier because of the cortisol inside of their blood. And they said stress was really bad for them, they were having heart attacks. But the ones who believed that stress was good for them and it made them perform, I perform under pressure, stress is good for me, they were living longer. So the same drug inside of their blood, how they framed it inside of their mind had different effects on their body. So from that point onwards, even though I already thought this way, I knew I was the right way. I knew it was the right way to think innately because I've done pretty good in life that way. But this confirmed it. Every time I feel stressed or under pressure, I get excited. I hate to not be stressed. I wake up and I'm like, everything's fucked. Good. Yes. Like that's just how I am, right? But it's how you adopt. It's how you look at the problems and how you use them to fuel you. So the question was, what's the problem for the average man today? What's the biggest problem? I think there's a whole host of problems. But what you have to do is frame it inside of your mind and understand that all of those problems are going to allow you, give you the fuel, the unlimited motivation that you need to become a successful and beautiful individual if you frame it in the right way. If you take a man and give him a life shielded from problems and he never has any to face, I guarantee you he's terrible at being a man. So I think that the number one problem with the world today and the biggest problem that men face isn't the problems themselves. It's just the way that they are been taught to mentally frame issues. People think when bad things happen to them that somehow they're a victim to the universe and bad things only happen to me and this is so terrible. They don't understand that bad things happen to everybody, and the most successful person you know had all those, probably maybe even worse, at least the same bad things happened to them. They just framed it differently and used it. That's the difference. So I don't pray for an easy life. I pray for a life of difficulty that allows me to become a better and better person. I pray to become more competent to handle problems. I pray to put myself in a position where if the mass media machine attempts its very best to destroy my life, I can laugh and smile from my villa in Dubai. This is who I pray to become. I don't pray that nobody hurts me. I pray to be able to fight. So it's just a different mentality.
Listen, folks, success is hard.
It's not easy. It's hard changing your life.
You don't get old without having suffered loss. Every year brings some sort of challenge with it. As you go along the way, you gain some things and you lose some things. You win some battles and you lose some battles.
We just need to get that part straight.
And wisdom develops in the life of those who have capitalized on their pain to draw conclusions. How you react to the famine determines whether you make it to the food. You can't just pray against the famine. You can't just stay in the same spot and do the same things that you've always done and expect to get a different result. You've got to take action.
The difference between a dream and a wish is something you just hope it happens, but a dream you put actions behind. Wishing isn't going to get you anywhere.
God has created us to be collaborative in the miraculous. That we have a responsibility to take action. Just because you're spiritual doesn't mean you get to pray for a job and stay at home. I'm just going to watch TV and hit the remote control. You'll never get to better if you don't get on the road. Jacob says, if you don't move, you're going to die. How could you let me die and I'm a child of God? You didn't move. And don't act like God has failed you when you have failed to move.
I don't know what you've been through. I don't know how bad it hurts you.
Maybe you've been through something you don't understand. Life hasn't turned out the way you'd hoped. It's painful.
But I came to tell you what you are going through right now is not how your story is supposed to end.
This ain't your life right here. This life you got right now, this ain't just it. You think this it? God ain't through with you.
Pain is a part of life. We've all been through things that are uncomfortable. We didn't like it, but God made a way when we didn't see a way. Even though it's painful now, if you'll stay in faith, that will lead you towards your destiny. Anybody can give up, but you know what that's doing? Wasting your pain.
It's very easy to find a reason to quit. Quitting is a very simple habit. You do it once, you'll do it again. By the way, fighting through and winning is also a habit. Anything worthwhile takes sacrifice and time.
We've all heard the saying, no pain, no gain. Every struggle is making you stronger. Every painful time, it's developing something in you that can only be developed in the tough times.